So I'm an entrepreneur in London. I've been here for about 10 years. Spent the last year growing this new company. Before that, I was a principal at a venture capital firm called Atlas, large VC firm managing about $2.5 billion in investments. And before that, I was an entrepreneur as well. I set up Germany's largest blogging community called myblog.de with a bunch of other people. And I'm currently still an angel investor in a few startups. I was an angel in Last.fm, for example. So that was, quite successful, lucky, if you will. Sure. So, Last.fm was, I came across the technology Audio Scrobbler in 2003, 2004. Really liked it because of the way it kind of implicitly tracks your behavior and then gives you recommendations and allows you to look at what other people are listening to. Cold emailed the team and said, I like what you're doing. You should meet my co-founder, a guy called Stefan Glenser. And Stefan, subsequently invested. I co-invested with him, and he became executive chairman of the company until they were sold to CBS. So Qwerly started out as a very geeky kind of thing, which is essentially integrating namespaces across social networks. So we felt like you had multiple or duplicate identities across social sites, and we wanted to be able to say, based on the public link infrastructure between profiles, this Twitter user is this Facebook user is this LinkedIn user, and so on. And we did that for the first couple of months. Then a lot of companies got in touch saying, we actually want to do this for our customer databases, our users, our lead databases. So can you append this consolidated social profile to email? And so we did that, and are now in use at about 2,000 companies, doing kind of millions of requests per month. It's going quite well. I think for the first time in history, you actually have profiles and information available about almost every human who is on the internet. So that there's never been a period in history when we've had essentially data records about every person online like that. Now that leads to a couple of opportunities, but it also leads to problems. So for example, how much in control of their data are people? There's a lot of questions about privacy. There are social questions around what can this data be used for, what shouldn't it be used for. There are business issues, if you will. So there are companies who are looking at this data going, well, this is very interesting because for the first time we have the opportunity of actually knowing who our customer is. So it's not this random anonymous person who walks into a supermarket, but I actually know what this person likes, what they talk about, and hence I can personalize my communication to them. I can give them products that they will actually want, right? So we're quite close to actually personalizing every kind of customer experience. And then finally there's I think there are big issues around control of the internet, if you will. So how much in control of your social identity are you really? Facebook tells you you have to use your real name. Google is starting to tell you have to use your real name online. You can't use pseudonyms. So that kind of breaks fundamental tenets of the web, where you could always be anonymous and you could say whatever you wanted and you could speak out without being afraid of anyone else. So I think it is one of the big issues of the next couple of years. How are people engaging with their social identities? How are businesses using it? How does that relate to government and society? I'm still fundamentally in love with the web. I first came online in like 94, 95, and it's changed a lot. And what I am able to do now professionally with the internet has changed. But I love the fundamental freedoms that the internet brings, right? The ability to publish for anyone and to anyone, right? To essentially 2 billion people on Earth is phenomenal. So I'm very much a tech guy, during the day and at night. So I guess if you ask me what I like most, is still the internet and internet technology. I think there are 2-3 reasons why it was particularly appealing. So I think number one is over the past 2-3 years, I've done a lot of business in Central Europe, and it's an area in Europe that is I think, more vibrant, more dynamic than a lot of the Western European countries. There's a lot more going on, a lot more opportunity. To some extent, the younger people are freer and more eager to do to do companies and to research new technologies. And then, I have a lot of Romanian friends, actually, and I've never been to Romania, so that was a good opportunity. But finally, I think what was very appealing was the way the conference is structured, and its focus is around digging deeply into issues about how to get something done, explaining issues in more depth, rather than just another talking shop about kind of Facebook, Google, and strategic issues in our industry, and that was very appealing.